EFF leader Julius Malema says the decision of his party's national chairperson, Advocate Dali Mpofu, to defect to the uMkhoto weSizwe party is not surprising. Mpofu announced his resignation from the Red Berets yesterday here on the SABC channel. He says the MK party is the only vehicle that can take the country forward. But speaking on the EFF podcast, Malema said Mpofu had been advocating for a merge of the EFF and the MK party for some time now. Well, political analyst Khanyi Magubane joins me now via video link to weigh in on the latest internal politics within the EFF and the resignation, of course, of its former national chair, Dali Mpofu. Khanyi, very good afternoon to you and thank you so much for your time. Well, as we look at the impact Dali Mpofu formation and the running of the EFF, I want us to also just talk about, the reaction that we saw from Malema, quite an interesting one, seemingly unfazed by it, saying he was not surprised, but did say he respects Mpofu for being open about his intentions. I mean, this is a person that was with the party for 11 years.
I think the saying that when days are dark, friends are few rings very true right now, because it seems as if Malema has been losing his closest allies one after another. And I think the exodus has really put him in a place where I think he's just emotionally numb right now. And he's saying that let the chips fall the way that they need to fall. Let everybody who wants to leave go. And I think that the last thing that the CIC can do is try to retain people who no longer want to be part of the EFF, because in politics, really, there's no permanent friends or permanent enemies. It's all about a person really seeing their potential growth in another party and moving there. And we've seen it, particularly with the people that have recently left the EFF. I mean, if you're talking Mzwanele, if you're talking Dali Mpofu, who's just left now, at least 3 political parties, each of them have been a part of. Dali saying he's even a member in his heart of all 3. So we are seeing that Malema is really going through the most, in street language, we are going. But I think that all is not lost. There's still a chance to turn the EFF around and to grow it and to make it strong again.
Let's talk then about the impact that these resignations and what they are likely to pose for the EFF, especially considering the party's National People's Assembly next month, which is an elective conference. I mean, the vacuum that was left by Floyd Shivambu cannot be underestimated. What are we likely to see?
Well, these are definitely high-ranking officials within the party, and it causes instability amongst the membership, and we're talking basic membership, people who are card-carrying members who are at a branch level. They don't always understand what is happening at national, and without proper communication channels to assure people that the party is still intact, then the leadership void and the impact that we can expect within the EFF is going to be catastrophic if it's not managed properly, because this is the time where people are nervous, where their membership is nervous as they move into the electoral conference. This is not where they want to be. He wants to go in there with a strong party, but he's not in a strong position right now. I mean, we know that Malema was said to be scared that Floyd Shivambu might actually be the next leader of the party, because of how popular he is inside. And as such, we know that as going into the elective conference, even Malema himself is not 100% certain that he's going to walk away as the president of the party. As the party tries to move forward and go into the future, the party itself has to ask itself, is Malema the best future for this party? And where I'm sitting right now, I think this is going to be the toughest elective conference yet for the man, because he needs to build confidence. People are not trusting in him. Why is everybody leaving you? Clearly the problem is with you. That's what he's facing right now.
And I mean, just the comments around how, Dali Mpofu was very instrumental in the formation of the MK party. This is at a time where, the EFF had approached, of course, the former president, Jacob Zuma, for his endorsement of the EFF going into the election. And then all of a sudden we see that formation of the MK party. And again, there's this, several parties then also coming into the fray to form that caucus, the Progressive Caucus, on this narrative of just upholding and abstaining and just lifting up particularly the black child. What does that then say about where the thinking is, particularly when you look at the MK party and everyone who has left the EFF party to go to this party, that, you know, our days, you know, for the EFF numbered?
Well, Unity, I think that it's going to be a long time before we can truly call that one. Currently, the EFF has 31 seats in Parliament. I mean, in the legislature, the Gauteng GP legislature, they have 11 seats. So they do have strong representation. And I think that with the Progressive Caucus Alliance, the bigger thought would be to challenge the GNU. If I remember, Nhlamulo Ndlela, one of the reasons that he felt they needed to join forces with MK, EFF, and I think Aljama and other smaller parties may have also been in that progressive alliance. The intention was to be a force in Parliament, to vote together, to actually take decisions together that may counter the GNU partners, which is the ANC, the DA, the Patriotic Alliance, the IFP. And so we see that there's no unity amongst the progressive alliance. And what was supposed to come to counter as opposition has now actually turned into osmosis, where the MK has literally taken those members. And I don't think there's anything stopping Julius Malema from going on his own shopping spree and actually recruiting other people from other political parties, because that is the nature of politics. And I hope that wherever he is at the CIC, you know, he'll lick his wounds, but that he'll go back to the drawing table and that he'll actually strategize about how to grow that party, because they have a constituent that is still waiting for them, you know, to fulfill all the promises that they made to them at election time. And they do have the representation that they've been given by their constituents. And that's where I think Malema needs to concentrate right now, building up the party again from the bottom up.
As we look at the National High Command, we know, of course, the MK party has the top 8. Who's likely to fill the Secretary General role now that it is vacant again?
You know, there was a time when I would have easily and confidently said Mbuyiseni Ndlozi would be the most likely candidate for that. But given the CIC's very spicy tweet recently saying 2 of your faves about to leave, I'm not so sure anymore. And I think that Mbuyiseni has been a very strong EFF member. He's been loyal. He's been faithful so far. We don't know what's happening at the back. He's the one person that I really thought would move even closer to Malema at this time and take that top position. But at this point, Unati, I really don't know who will take that position. It's very, very, very tense in the EFF camp right now.
And I mean, all political parties at the moment are really focused and gearing for the next local elections, very focused also on their own internal structures. What is the machinery, in fact, that the MK party should be taking now that it has all of these very high-profile people that are now in its leadership?
I think they can definitely learn from the EFF's mistakes, right? The EFF had very powerful, those very same powerful people were sitting in Parliament representing the EFF, yet I personally think the EFF did not use them as efficiently as they could have. You're talking about people that have a lot of experience within public service. I mean, you're talking about a former public protector. You're talking about a former head of GCIS, Mzwanele Mani. You're talking about Dali Mpofu, who's tried some of the country's biggest cases. And I think that what the MK needs to do under Floyd Shivambu as the national coordinator is to really position them as individuals that can start to attract your clever blacks, your high upper middle class following, and move beyond it being just a tribalistic Zulu party as we've seen. You know, bring people of different tribes has actually helped in breaking down that stereotype of that the MK is a Zulu party. So I think if the MK can really use those powerful individuals that they now have effectively, they are going to reap a positive fruit come the local elections.
Right, Khanyi, thank you so much for your analysis. Really do appreciate you coming on to the show. That was Khanyi Magubane, a political analyst, just weighing in on the internal politics of the EFF and, of course, the MK party.